Remgro is an investment holding company with investments in banking, healthcare, insurance, and food and liquor.
Yes, so this one is associated with the Rupert family, of course, the industrial reorganization in 2008 that split up all of their companies, Richmond, British American Tobacco. What is left with regard to Remgro, which is listed here in our market, is the substantial asset portfolio of both listed and unlisted South African equity interests.
And we're looking at a market cap, 125 billion rand, price to earnings ratio here of 18.7, dividend yield 1.6%. So the question is whether the team can do it better than you can, and that team under Jannie Durant.
Correct, and that's a good point. This is a broad portfolio. It has no commodities or mining exposure in it. And Jannie Durant and his colleagues with Rupert, Johan Rupert that is, on the executive chairmanship, they do an excellent job of asset allocation and stock selection, and they've done some brilliant deals in the past.
And people would be hard-pressed not to follow Johan Rupert, given his track record.
And I think you could buy this one instead of an industrial and financial unit trust, because these guys have a lower management fee at the center than those unit trust boys in their fancy suits that drive around and go to investment meetings and make calls and do too much trading.
So it sounds as though you're going positive on Remgro from the outset.
Well, let's just talk first about what's under the hood with Remgro, because what you have there is a big exposure to Mediclinic, because that is one of their largest assets.
One of your favorite stocks.
Like that one a lot. Then you've got a lot of financial services exposure, RMI, First Rand, and that's because Johan Rupert was involved in the early days of forming those companies, and he had all of those stakes along the way. Then in addition to that, you get a whole bunch of other industrial stuff. The food assets are RCL, you know, we own those.
We own that as well. So
then
this portfolio
things
really
like Total South Africa, Air Liquide, Robertson's, which is a spices business. It's got a big chunk of Grindrod, we know. It's got some IT assets like the Seacom cable and some other investments in dark fiber Africa. And, I'm probably forgetting two or
diversified
three.
portfolio across, as we said earlier, healthcare, food, as you say, the Seacom cable, the IT side.
Yeah.
Is there anything missing except just the resource stocks?
Well, they had more IT before. That's interesting, because remember, they were also at the beginning and there as a founder investor in Vodacom and Dimension Data. Yes, but those have been dissolved or sold off. So in the Vodacom case, it went out to Vodafone UK. In the Data case, NTT Docomo bought that. So I would actually like it if it had more portfolio exposure to tech. But that's just kind of part of the mix.
Again, you made the point they're not in resources, and you celebrate that fact, because we're not in resources at all.
But you can see, let's have that share price chart up again. It's gone a little bit off the boil because underlying investments, which are principally Mediclinic, as we know, has gone off the boil. It was almost at 125, 130 Rand a share. It sagged back to about 100.
So in the same way that the healthcare exposure is hitting us, it's hitting them as well.
I'm hot on this one. I would say, I'm going to jump the gun and say I'm hot on this one. I would say, though, that it's arguable. We've got a portfolio in our hot stocks concoction which already owns a whole lot of these assets. I'm not sure whether adding this one as well would necessarily be a smart call at this time.
There are a lot of similarities,
but for people with limited capital availability who like the idea of buying something and putting it in the bottom drawer and not bothering about it for 15 years, you could do a lot worse.
And not having to pay any attention to actively managing
the exposure. Effectively, they're doing that asset monitoring for you and going to all those board meetings. Lucky them.